This is the one that started it all, the HK4.
And over the years, HK has released some incredibly cool pistols like the P9S, which is one of the only roller-delayed blowback pistols in the world.
To the H&K P7 series pistols, considered to be the most expensive service pistols ever made.
We can't ignore the world's first offensive handgun, the Mark 23.
Or one of my personal favorites, the USP.
And H&K's most successful pistol of all time, the VP9.
The HK pistol lineup is so good, in fact, that it can leave you wondering, where should you start?
And what might just be some aspirational handgun purchases.
Today we're breaking it all down as we give you the ultimate guide to building your HK pistol collection. Okay, here we are, everyone, in the freaking great room. You know what I'm saying? There's worse days you could have, I like to think. This is in the good days list. We are joined by James Williamson. And there's no greater thrill that I can say than to have you on the show. I mean, this ranks in best days of my life. You're on the show.
I'm humbled once again to be with you, my friends, and to be here with H&K.
Yeah. So here's how this is going to shake out today. Me and James are chatting, and a question I believe you get a lot is kind of like, where do I start my HK journey? And today we're really going to be looking at that, but in a broader context of HK pistols and really kind of going through the whole damn roster of HK pistols and giving you guys kind of a guide of like, we're going to go the vintage section, which is really going to be pre-90s. There's going to be 4 guns in there. For those of you that don't know this, well, actually by the time this video is out, we can go ahead and say that there's an 11th HK pistol that I guess we could actually talk about within this as well. But so we're going to have the vintage sort of pre-90s stuff, no longer in production. Then we're going to have basically like your neo vintage stuff like USPs, P2000s, things like that. And then we're going to have sort of the latest, greatest things that are out there, the VP9s, the CC9s, things like that. And we're just going to kind of navigate and talk through, hey, who might this appeal to? We're going to hit you with some scenarios of like, hey, I'm looking to get my first HK pistol. Where should I start? Or I've got 3, but I want to do something old and cool and unique. What should I get? So we're going to kind of hammer that out today. And I would tell people, well, I don't know, maybe you got an idea. What would be a resource if someone wanted to really kind of nerd out and deep dive on HK pistols?
Yeah, well, that would be volume 1 of the Vickers Guide to H&K series.
I've got it. I use it all the time, actually, to be honest with you.
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
And I think as far as your ability in a single source to see all of the different variants, and there's many more variants than we even have here in the gray room today that are in there, kind of learn about those. Can't go wrong with a copy of the Vickers Guide Volume 1.
Yeah, 100%. So this is going to be fun. I do fear for your guys' financial health after watching this video. I think this one can get pretty dangerous, and I say that personally.
Because you're in financial
This
bad
video
health.
makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of scared of this one at a personal level. So a couple quick thank yous, then we'll jump in. Guys, the video today is all about carry guns. And the sponsor of today's video is Concealed Carry Insurance. That would be Firearms Legal Protection. So let's just say that you're carrying an HK P7, right? This is the M7 variant. This would be an official gangster carry gun. I mean, actually about as cool as a carry gun can possibly get. If you got an illegally justified shooting with this bad boy, 45 ACP P7, come on everyone. You would need FLP. There's a code that you guys can plug in. It's 1911, saves you guys about 1/3 off of the different plans. So if you travel a lot, they have a plan for that. If you stay in your home state, mostly they have a plan for that. If you have family, if you're one of those folks, they've got a plan for that. Cover all your attorney fees. They have a firearm confiscation fee because, like, chances are you get in a shooting, right? They're going to take your gun. The fee, the payment they have is not enough to cover the cost of one of these. Very few payments are enough to cover the cost of one of these, but they have that. Bail bonds, expert witness fees, all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out. Again, code 1911 saves you guys a bunch of money off. And I would highly recommend with your remaining funds that you got from those savings, go get a P7 M7. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the vintage section. I'll just say on a personal level, I'm actually really excited for this section because this is where I really haven't dabbled yet, and I know that.
And you're kind of in the market right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm dabbling.
No, I think he's in the market. He said that to you, right, James?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. You know, so I mean, So really, if we look at what we're going to lump into the vintage category, we've really got 4 guns.
Yeah. This is what I consider the legacy HKs. They're the ones that are no longer produced.
Right.
They're the ones that got the company started. If you're a child of the 80s like I am, you might be familiar with these models because they were available at that time. If you're newer to H&K, if the VP9 is your entry level into that, maybe you aren't as familiar with these. But what I think these represent is a different period of time in firearms manufacturing. The design, the quality, kind of the thinking of where they went with these weapons is just different than what we see today. I think today we see very much of the same thing over and over again. It's a similar reproduction of Browning's tilting barrel short recoil system design. Everybody's using that because it's reliable, it's inexpensive to produce, it's easy to operate, people are used to it. What we see in these is H&K at its finest of engineering and out-of-the-box thinking.
Because, there's some really different designs here.
They are.
This is some really kind of out there stuff.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's go to the beginning. We'll just kind of go in the timeline of
Sure. I think, obviously you want to start talking about the HK4. This is the first handgun from H&K. If you are familiar with older guns, you might look at that and say, hey, James, that looks a lot like a Mauser HSC. And the reason why is because one of the founding members of H&K and the guy who designed the HK4 had also been with Mauser and designed the Mauser HSC. So he used that kind of concept, but what he did with bringing it over to H&K and the naming of HK4 is it is a convertible firearm available in 4 calibers. You had 22, 25, 32, and 380. You could purchase it in a single caliber, or you can purchase it in a number of caliber conversions. The most desirable is the full 4 caliber set, where you have a different magazine and a different barrel, and you can swap those things out between the calibers. So if you wanted to have the full collection, well, of course, you've got to have the first. To go along that.
That's what I'm saying. I've been telling my accountant this. Like, I've been in the middle, like, Tom, come on, can't we get on board with an HK4 here?
There you go.
And it's kind of a funky pistol.
It is.
Like, this is actually my first time really messing with one, and I was like, this is interesting.
It's got some unique kind of quirky features on it that you don't see from some of the other type pistols. I think a lot of times you might look at that and go, oh, that's probably like a Walther PPK.
Yeah, it reminds me of PPK.
And it's a little bit different. But again, very unique in the fact that you can change from one caliber to the next. And at the time, this was a very desirable feature because this was being marketed as a law enforcement pistol. German law enforcement were using 32s and 380s, but for training purposes, they wanted to have a 22 caliber capability. So to be able to transition back and forth between those was really ideal.
Well, and I was encouraged to know, just on some research, like, they don't really sell for that much. Like, they're not outrageously priced.
Correct. It's not from the fact that they made so many of them. It's because I think there's just a lot of people who don't know what this is.
It's just kind of overshadowed by...
It's overshadowed by other ones, and I think just the knowledge base has fallen away for that one.
Well, I'm going to try to get in there before those prices go up.
Yep.
Okay.
Next in the lineage is your VP70 here. This one is really, it's got a great backstory as a true Volks pistol concept to be created as a very inexpensive and simple gun that could be produced to arm the German populace in case the Soviet hordes poured through the Fulda Gap and we had to very quickly arm people. They didn't use complicated locking systems and things like that. It's a simple blowback gun. It's the first polymer constructed handgun. So the receiver is all polymer with steel inserts. Yep. Yeah. And it's also very unique because it was, for the time, an 18-round magazine capacity. The only thing that rivaled that was Browning's high power with 13. So even today, it's hard to find a pistol out there that has 18 rounds on standard.
Yeah.
Not the
And this fascinating safety
yep
on a frame.
simple
like a
crossbolt
damn
safety.
BB gun, you know.
Everything on there screams. You could hand this to somebody who doesn't know anything about shooting, and they're not going to be able to not shoot this gun. Incredibly simple to operate, reliable.
It's pretty hideous.
It is. It's not the most
Aesthetically not
attractive.
good-looking.
It is
weapon
not a
they've done.
good-looking gun.
It's because it's simple blowback. It's heavier than it would otherwise be, and it has a less than desirable trigger pull.
I believe
a lot
it.
of people kind of refer to like firing a staple gun.
Can I dry fire
You
this?
certainly could.
Okay. No, I just want to know. I want a magazine disconnect.
Yep.
It is like I can just see it's like a staple gun.
Well, that's not great.
It is
is
long
not
and
great.
heavy. It is a true double action striker fired pistol.
Oh,
So
really?
the
Okay.
long trigger and heavy trigger pull is you drawing the striker all the way back to the rear and then releasing it. This predates what
Yes.
we've seen now is all of the companies that, including H&K with their later striker fired guns, realized that we need to come up with a pre-cocked striker, and that's going to release the tension on the trigger pull.
Okay. Well, you got to really be into the HK rabbit hole to be picking up a VP70.
Correct. Again, this is usually the H&K fanatic who wants to have one of everything in their
Right.
collection, but this is much more a talking piece for the uniqueness of the requirement that was built around it. If you can appreciate all that, then all of these unique features that it has come into play. But as far as enjoyment on the range, probably not the one you want. But that leads us to the next in the line, and one that I would highly recommend that every H&K fan take a look at,
Yeah.
and that's the P9S series. This is very unique from H&K's standpoint, is thinking outside the box from standard designs, but also looking at what they were doing with their rifles. This is a roller delayed blowback operated pistol. So they took the original G3 roller delayed design and they modified that down to 9mm and created the MP5s. Put it in 5.56 and created the HK33 series. And then they said, you know what, we could do that with a pistol as well. So if you take a look here, you'll see I've got a MP5 roller delayed bolt. You can see the rollers sticking out on either side. We have the same design, a roller delayed bolt for your P9S next to it. It's just a smaller system in there. With that, if you look at the barrel is actually fixed to the receiver when the weapon is assembled. So as you can see here, I have another one. When I remove the slide, the barrel comes with it, which is interesting. So a lot of people buy this and they think that the barrel reciprocates with the gun, but when you actually mount the slide to the receiver, it locks into the receiver and becomes a fixed barrel. So the combination of a fixed barrel and a roller delayed blowback operating system makes the P9S incredibly smooth as shooter, very light on recoil, and incredibly accurate. In 9mm, this is just a joy, but as you can see here, not only did they develop the pistol in 9mm, but they also offered it in 45. And as far as the 45 goes, it's hard to beat a pistol from this time period that is that smooth to operate. It's also got some unique features where you look at this and you think, oh, well, this must be a striker-fired pistol, like that is like the VP70 that went before it, but it's actually
It's like an internal hammer, right?
it's an internal hammer design pistol, and it utilizes a really unique multi-function lever here on the left side of the receiver. Now, this won't work for you as a lefty,
No.
because this is back at the time of H&K when if you weren't right, you were wrong.
Yeah.
But unique multi-function lever. This, as you will notice here with the condition of the hammer, I can cock the weapon by using that.
What?
Whoa.
If I push down on this and release the trigger, and when the weapon is unsafe, it won't allow the weapon to fire, it will safely release it. And this is also the slide release when I reload the weapon. So pull the slide back,
What am I looking for?
push up on it when you pull the slide
This?
back. Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
turn it so they can see it on the camera and push down on that.
Okay. On this?
Yep. and it's also your slide release. So it's your decocker, it's your cocker, and it is your slide release.
And then
feature.
safety's mounted up on
And
the
then a manual
on the slide.
safety up there on the slide.
Boy, now that is very interesting.
Yep. They made these in different calibers. You had them in 9mm and 45. In the standard version that you have, which is referred to as the P9S Combat, they made one with target sights, a taller sight, an adjustable rear, and an adjustable sear to adjust your trigger pull. And then they made the Sport Group models. Sport Group models have longer barrels and a weighted point here at the end of the barrel, and they'll sometimes have plastic grips, sometimes have a really nice wooden grip with the same design.
Yeah, I
and then
want that.
sometimes you get the Olympic style grip, which really fits your hand. If you wanted to do some really accurate stuff, bullseye shooting, these things are just an absolute dream to shoot.
Really cool. And the P9s also really don't trade that high in price either.
Correct. You can find some good lower cost examples. I think, again, because people don't always know what they have.
Yeah.
This was a German police issue pistol. So
Yeah.
oftentimes you can find German police trade-ins
Yeah.
that were carried a lot but shot very little.
Okay.
And those aren't as desirable on a price point. So you can get into those much less expensive. Obviously, the tricked out ones like the Sport Group are going to be much more expensive. You can find those with a custom fitted briefcase and some accessories. But yeah, you can get into those. And I think that it's another one of these guns you just really have to shoot to realize, wow, that is an incredibly good, accurate, soft shooting and fun pistol to shoot. And it's just different. You know, you show up at the range, everybody else out there with Glocks, and you show up with one of these, you're suddenly an aficionado. So
And just inherently cooler than any Glock guy. So, okay, P9, okay, so I need HK4, I need P9S. Okay.
Last
Now
but not
what?
least, a P7.
yeah,
Definitely not least.
this is by far the most desirable and the collectible. If somebody said, "Hey James, I need to have the collectible H&K," I would tell them, look no further than the P7 series. There are lots of different models from the P7 series. We're not going to cover them all here. Some are more unique and rare than others, but for the primary concern out there, you've got the original P7. Which is a single stack 8-round magazine with the Euro heel mag release. These are your most budget friendly. They are commercial models that were offered here in the US for commercial sale, and then you'll also find German police trade-in models. The German police trade-in models are usually the ones you can find for the least money. Again, carried a lot, shot very little, and a great kind of entry level into the P7 market in the standard P7. Then you move up to the P7 M8, which is a modernized version of the original P7, still an 8-round magazine, but now you move to a paddle mag release, more in the American positioning. With on the receiver, you get the larger trigger guard with the heat shield, and that I think is probably the one that you're going to see most people own. It's also the one you see the most being produced. So there's more P7 M8s out there than others. And then you've got the big brother to it, functionally the same thing, but the P7 M13 just with a wider grip to accommodate the 13-round magazine. Not as many of these out as the P7 M8s, so they demand a little bit higher money on the market.
And the mags are ungodly
The
expensive.
mags are much more expensive, but they are, again, an over-engineered magazine. I think if you were looking between the two,
Right.
I would say let's look at your hand size. Generally, people who have smaller to medium hand sizes find the grip of the P7 M13 just a little bit too
a little fat.
too wide.
Yeah.
And if you want to carry it as a concealed carry gun, like I do with the
little thick,
P7 M8,
yeah.
it's a little thick for a inside the waistband type pistol, but gives you more magazine capacity, so you get to shoot more.
Yep. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay.
Which one are you looking for, Jake?
An M13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need an M13.
Yep. And for the people who haven't seen our P7 series video, what is so really unique about that? There's so many unique features. This year our cutaway version, you get a low bore access. I mean, with the barrel and the slide right below my palm here, you get a fixed barrel for better accuracy. you get a gas piston operating system, gas retarded delay system. So when you pull the trigger, that bullet leaves the barrel before the weapon goes into recoil, because part of that gas is diverted down the cylinder. It tries to move forward. The gas piston's pressing against it. It locks the weapon into the lock position until the bullet's left the barrel, gas pressure's equalized, then the weapon can go into recoil. That's going to make it more accurate. It's going to make it more stable, and it's going to make it more soft recoiling and a safe action. Right now, it's a striker-fired gun, but unlike pre-cocked strikers where they're held back by the sear, the striker's all the way forward until I squeeze the grip safety, and you can see the striker out the rear. This allows it to fire. Once I release the grip safety, it's safe again. I can pull the trigger all day long. The trigger's not connected to the sear bar until I grab the grip safety. The grip safety also serves as your slide release. So re-gripping the pistol brings it back into action. It's just an incredibly unique gun, and one that, because of all those features I mentioned and its all steel construction, it's very easy to control, a lot of fun to shoot. If you are a collector of H&K firearms and you don't have a P7 in your collection, well, you're just plain wrong.
Oh God, don't.
You're wrong.
Tell me. Don't threaten my $5,000.
Left-handed, and you're wrong.
Oh, you want to play that game?
Wrong.
Swipe the card. I got no balls into buying a gun in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The only reason I bought it is because they said I had no balls. So if you want to no balls me right now, I got a
Put
piece
your
of it right
credit
now.
card where your mouth is.
We'll talk after we wrap, okay? It's a problematic video. It would be safe to say that the P7 of the entire HK pistol collection or pistol lineup commands the highest price.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, long ago the word got out on these.
Yeah.
So, unlike some of these other models where you may be able to walk in a gun store and they just don't know what they have, and you can get it on a steel, everybody knows what the P7 series has. And what I see a lot of times now is these are kind of trading around, in the tighter circles. If you just go out on Gunbroker, well, good luck, because you're going to get people bidding against each other and driving these things up to insane levels. What you really need is a guy like me who can help you find somebody who's looking to move one on, but wants it to go to another
A good home.
well-loved HK passionate home.
Well,
Oh, I got your number.
Yeah, I can help with that.
I got your number. We'll talk. We'll talk off camera.
that wraps it up for the vintage portion. Right?
Neo.
Now we're going to head on to the Neo.
Going Neo vintage now. Okay, guys, other sponsor of today's video is Big Tex Ordnance. So I'm trying to look for things inside of the gray room that Big Tex would carry. They don't carry any of this, but they are bound to carry. So they carry X300s, for example, a lot of weapon lights. They don't carry the Insight UTL for the HK USP. Don't carry that, but a lot of other good weapon lights. What do they have? They don't carry the briefcase for the MP5K. Really cool accessory though. But if they did carry that, it would ship same day if you place the order before 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. But again, they don't carry this. They do carry EOTechs. So you can, I believe they carry EOTech. They carry a bunch of optics. So you can, but you can't get this exact one there. That's a training model. This whole UMP is a training model. So you can see how the internals work. There's bound to be something in here that they actually have in stock. The good news is they say they have it in stock. They actually have it in stock. They carry pistol red dots, right? And other things. Look, they carry a ton of stuff. They're just not the gray room, so there is a limit to it. I would recommend you plug in the code 1911SYN. That saves you guys 10% off the store. Your order comes with candy and like a copy of the Constitution. And I don't know, there's no one in perusing the gray room right now, so I might be able to get away with just yanking something from a wall and making a mad dash for the door. See how that shakes out. If you look for any other ways to support the 1911 Syndicate, got the real estate page linked below, Patreon linked below. Our Patreon members actually get to come here. We're giving them a tour and a whole. They got some cool surprises they don't even know that are coming tomorrow night. So check that out. Let's start talking about some more HK guns. Okay, up next, so what we're calling Neo Vintage, despite the fact that the majority of this is actually still made. So it's like this is where I live right here. Like this is my current HK zone where I'm like, cool. This is where I've been living.
These are the 90s kids.
Yeah, right. This is my jam right here. So so really we're gonna be looking at USP, P2000, Mark 23. They all share a lot in common. USP in particular has tons of different variants. So that's a whole rabbit hole. So I don't know. Where do we kick in here?
So I think for this series of weapons that we have on the table, this is most likely the entry point or the first awareness of H&K from a handgun standpoint that most people are going to have.
Right.
Before that, those legacy guns we showcased, most people didn't even know those existed because they were so rare. They weren't in every gun shop. This predates YouTube and the internet, or they were at a price point that just placed them out. So when you went to the gun shop, you never even went over to that case over there.
Nope.
You were in this area. I've said this before. We've talked about the USP. When H&K brought this to market in the early 1990s, this was a revolution, not just for them as a company, but I think really for the entire firearms industry to kind of relook at what they were doing. Even for H&K, they had made a conscious decision to go, yeah, we've thought outside the box with all these unique operating systems, but now we're going to go to what does the American handgun market want? They want Browning tilting barrel design. Well, we'll give them the best and most reliable one out there. And then they took their experience in polymer receiver designs that they had done starting all the way back with the VP70, and they put that together into it. And they were the ones who got it right with this whole transition to 40. H&K was in at the right time of already designing a brand new pistol right as that cartridge was coming to life. All the other gun companies took the look at the size of the cartridge and said, well, we could cram this same cartridge into the 9mm platform we already have designed. And what we saw with all those early examples were slides cracking and slides, coming off the guns and things like that. H&K with the USP designed it to be based around the 40 cartridge. That meant that they could then step down back to 9mm. So originally released as the standard USP in 40 and then immediately followed up with 9mm. And then as we see here, this example later in 45.
And you love the USP 45.
I do. If I was gonna, pick one of those three calibers to choose, I think the 45 is the best of the bunch. We showcased before in the legacy ones the P9S in 9 and 45. It was originally built in 9. Then they tried to cram 45 into it, and they realized that, okay, we need to build it a little bit bigger. This USP 45, if you laid it next to a 9 and 40, you're going to see it's just slightly larger in dimensions, but I think it's just optimized best as far as the ability to run that gun reliably and controllable. It is a true end of days type gun.
It's a workhorse.
It is. I never see those guns as on the Armour side. I never see failure points on these things. They just go and go and go. For the gun owner out there that maybe just doesn't know exactly what he wants, whether do I want a DASA gun? Do I want a single action only type gun?
It's the best gun.
Do I want a double action only? Maybe my tastes are going to change. Well, with a lot of other guns, you get what you get. That's another beauty of the USP design. From H&K, their initial concept was to make it, as it says, universal self-loading pistol. It is convertible to a variety of variants. So if you want to have a traditional double action, single action with an external safety and a decocking function, you can get that variant. If you want that multifunction safety lever on the right side for a left-handed guy like you,
gun set up for a lefty right now.
you can get that. If you don't want the safety, but you do want the decocker, they've got a variant for that. If you want to run it as a 1911, as single action only, just sweeping the safety down, they've got a variant for that. If you wanted a double action only, they've got a variant for that.
And that sounds like it sucks until you realize that the LEM trigger conversion is
Not bad.
in my opinion, that's the sauce right there.
Yeah, incredible. And the fact that, again, all of this is built into that gun, and all you have to do is purchase the few different internal components that you have to swap out in order to convert it from one variant to the next. That makes it very adaptable, and I know a lot of people who've been able to buy this and have this be their gun year after year, decade after decade, and as maybe the trends change or their own personal styles change, where maybe they pass it on to their son, and he doesn't want a DASA gun, he wants a different variant, you can do all that. You don't have to buy another gun, and you don't need to buy another gun because you're never going to wear one of these USPs out.
Yeah, 100%. And as a shameless plug for you, like, you've done triggers on 3 or 4 USPs for me now. Because often when I get a USP, it's in DASA, and I'm like, I pretty much make all of them LEM, and so I send them to you, and you do the conversions, and you do nice short resets and everything. Like, you know, hey, Papa Williamson's.
We want you to be happy with your purchase.
Yeah, no.
So
Okay.
the other interesting thing that started with the USP, we saw it kind of with the P7. We saw it with the P9S before it, where they didn't just make one gun; they made a few. When they got to the USP, they really, let the creativity run free, and we saw other examples. The compact.
Yes.
When this came out, this was intended, for the U.S. law enforcement community, for the civilian community, but it is a duty-sized weapon.
Right.
And if you got the right size, you got the right clothes, you can certainly conceal carry this all day. But they also were responding to the needs of a detective special undercover type thing and the commercial market for a civilian carry model. So they created the USP Compact.
Badass gun.
Yep.
I love the USP Compact.
This is, again, functionally the same weapon, though it's got different dimensions externally. Internally, all of those same working bits and variant changes are available. But now you've got one that's a lot more carry friendly, and again, completely overbuilt. You just do not see these guns fail. And what we've seen, as we'll talk about as we go through here, is H&K kind of learned from that. And they said, we overbuilt these things at the beginning. And as they've gone on to these product improvements in other series, they've been able to use the same design, but shave off a little bit of material here and there and still get the gun to work reliably. So if you want an overbuilt gun that you can depend on for carry, USP Compact, great option.
It's probably the next HK gun that I'll buy is a USP Compact in 9, because I actually really want to start carrying one.
Yeah.
I recently got a P2000 that I've been carrying, while I've been traveling, and which is very similar to a USP Compact. It's that tweener that we'll talk about as we go, but it's like, I actually really want to get a USP Compact. I think for me personally, that's going to wind up being where I migrate to on a carry gun.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And we'll get to some guns that are very, very small, and they've taken care to look at like making things like slide releases very low profile. If you're a person that, hey, I just want to use large, muscle movements, and I want things to be exposed. I mean, you have large multifunctional lever. You have a very large, you're not going to miss this slide release. So it's a great option even today as a carry pistol.
So this is the Expert.
Yep.
So where does the Expert come into play?
The Expert actually follows this model here, which
We'll
I
talk
know,
about that cool
I
guy.
know that you are familiar with.
Yeah, so I got a USP match this year. That was a real bucket list gun for me.
Unexpected bucket list too.
Yeah,
Opportunity arose, you couldn't say no.
Yeah, and it was like I got a good deal on one, and it was just like, that was that's like really one of, I would say, kind of my unicorns that I was like, yeah, I'm buying that.
Sure. Another one from your pop culture, kind of thought process for your video series. This one most people recognize as the Tomb Raider gun. It is a USP that has a longer barrel. So you can see the barrel extends out. We've got the O-ring that provides a greater lockup for accuracy on there. And then you've got the attachment of this weighted match element here at the front that's going to help with your recoil management and the taller adjustable target sight. So if you're looking for a target gun, a gun to go to the range and really just drill out the center of that X, this is a great option. They're not made anymore, and they're very collectible now, available in 9, 40, and 45, and you can get them either in black or with the kind of two-tone finish, which I know you're a fan of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you did the trigger on that for me.
Yep.
So my USP match has this match LEM hybrid sort of trigger in it, and it is...
Yep. Again, very customizable to the needs because of the modularity of the system. From that, because of the overall cost of this being so expensive, and because this didn't meet from kind of the overall size dimensions, some of the specific sporting requirements, they created a USP Expert, which is what you have there. as well as a USP Elite. And those, again, have the longer barrel with the O-ring in there. You've got the taller sights on there. This one in 9 and 40 will have the flared magazine well extension jet funnel kit with a higher capacity magazine that also has a weight on there, so it falls out of the gun quicker for your reloads in competition.
Yeah, AMB controls on this one too. So again, all this can be, that's what's so cool about the USP series is you can really configure this thing however you want to run it.
Yeah, they were doing modularity back in the day when some companies are just getting to that point right now.
Yep.
Like even from the very first vintage HKs to now, like the modularity and your way to customize them is, they've been doing it for years.
Yep.
Where again, some companies just get into it today.
Yep.
So,
Okay,
awesome.
so
And they
So
all,
out of all these, you're going the compact, the USP compact, or
I-
no, sorry, 45.
USP 45, if I was going
You're
to
going the compact.
tell you.
well, I have 2 left on my USP list to complete the family. That's the compact and the tactical.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. This is also the first series that we see H&K get into offering a commercial suppressor capable one with the USP Tactical, which you can see here.
Yeah.
It is a
Badass.
a USP that has the match trigger kit in there with the adjustable trigger stop and some lightened enhancements for better performance internally with a cleaner break and lighter trigger pulls. But it also comes with the longer threaded barrel that also has the O-ring for stability and allows you to mount a suppressor. These were available as the full size as well as the compact and the compact tactical. And again, when these came out, massive hit for the guys who wanted suppressors, and H&K has continued that on through their other series as well.
I think that's a good gun for you.
Yeah, I think I need to get one of these.
Yep.
Yeah.
In 9?
I think, and it might even be a unintentional segue, but it's like, I think a real conversation that could be had is like, hey, there's the USP Tactical as an alternative to a Mark 23. Because like, hey, there's a lot in common here. You know, it's like, if you want the big boy, but it's like, hey, if you want kind of a shrunken down Mark 23, that can really satisfy that.
And since I just snagged a Mark 23 recently.
That might be your ticket right there.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about this guy?
Yeah, I mean, if the fans haven't watched the numerous 1911 Syndicate videos that have been done on the Mark 23, specifically amongst those, the one we did last year with Dave, our good Navy SEAL buddy, I would highly recommend that. Incredibly educationally beneficial and really dispels a lot of the myths around this. But if, I talked about the USP 45 being completely overbuilt. I don't think there's anything that matches the Mark 23 in capability of a pistol to perform in the most adverse conditions with the most accuracy potential. The challenges that H&K had to do that to be able to create what otherwise would have been a match grade, custom gunsmith level 1945 capability of accuracy potential in a production gun with drop-in capable replacement parts. It's just absolutely incredible what you can do with that, especially when you mount a suppressor on the end of it.
It kind of comes alive with
really
the can
does.
on it. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
But of course, hey, a fairly limited use weapon for most people. It's not like you're going to easily see that. Apparently, a few people have.
do.
I'm getting a holster made for mine currently.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I'm an appendix carry that thing. I don't care.
I have guys that show up to our handgun training courses that run those, which is great to watch them do it. I've got a picture I'll share with you of our friend Angela here with Shaquille O'Neal in the gray room, and he concealed carries.
Yeah,
Mark
that's
22.
what we're,
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. So, okay, and then we got P2000.
Yep, and as great as the USP series was, H&K had to continue to advance their pistol program. And what they did at the end of the 1990s was look at the other requirements they had for law enforcement contracts, and most of those were trying to find a gun that was just a little bit smaller dimensionally than a standard duty size weapon.
Yeah.
So they utilized the USP Compact as its sizing dimensions and just did a product improvement into the P2000 series. So functionally, it's the same gun.
Right.
It's just, we curved off a little bit off of the slide. We added the removable back straps for a little bit more of a customization from, the user standpoint. And then
ambidextrous paddle too.
We did, yep. Now we gave the full ambidextrous capability with a left and right side slide release. But what we see now with the P2000 series is a dedication to either a DASA gun or an LEM, which is H&K's enhanced double action only.
Yeah.
So it is not as modular as the USP series. You can't buy one and swap it, all these different variants. You commit to either DASA or LEM trigger system on that. The slightly smaller dimensions or more compact dimensions on this and the ergonomic changes make this an excellent carry gun.
It is.
And a criminally overlooked option for concealed carry or home defense. In my opinion, a great performer, really easy to carry, especially inside the waistband with its slimmer dimensions. I really enjoy that pistol.
Well, and I would just add, and we're going to be filming a dedicated video on the P2000, so I don't know where this will come out in relation to that, but I've been told that it's now okay to say, like, this is now effectively discontinued.
Correct.
This is going away. So for the people that have been sleeping on a P2000, there's a reason I bought one of these this year, because I was like, I ain't going down some P7 path where a decade from now I'm like, oh, it's time to get a P2000. They're like, cool, that'll be $3,000. I ain't gonna be that sucker. I'll give you $1,000 now. Because it's a really good gun. The criminally sad thing about this, and I hope in a selfish way this produces something, is that there are no good IWB holsters for this. And so if anyone makes good holsters out there that's like, I'll make a badass P2000 holster, because the one from We the People holsters, they ain't sponsoring our channel, because that holster sucks some serious ass.
And to make it more difficult, are you done, by the way? Sorry, I should have.
Yeah. I don't think we're getting that sponsorship.
Not getting that one, but it needs to be a left-handed holster also. So.
Yeah, so please, if anyone.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but P2000 is also one of the pistols that kind of put them on the law enforcement map.
Yeah, it was
like stateside.
It was the largest law enforcement at the federal level handgun contract in history.
And that's Border Patrol we're talking about, right?
That's Border Patrol, ICE, Homeland Security, all the air marshals.
Yeah.
They were issued either a P2000, a P2000 SK, which were mentioned, or a USP compact in one of those series. So incredibly popular gun.
Bomb-proof. They last forever.
Here in the U.S. This is also the first time that we saw H&K create their subcompact line based off of the P2000. So USP compact, sorry, we've got so many guns on the table. USP compact was the basis for the size for the original P2000. So they went even smaller for even more discrete carry option with the subcompact. Again, functionally the same gun, but just a little bit shorter here on the front end, a little bit shorter on the grip area. So if you're really looking for a deep concealment option, but you want to have larger magazine capacity, P2000 SK was the first one. Available in 9 and 40, but for a period of time, you can still find them on the market. This was also the first time that you saw 357 SIG being offered in the HK line, and again, everybody's got their likes and dislikes, but man, the terminal ballistics on a 357 SIG cartridge is really incredible. So you'll find those available. They also offered 357 SIG for a limited time in USP compacts as well. Huh. And if that's a cartridge that you're hot on, well, picking up one of those off the used market would be a good option too.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So the P2000 basically continues to evolve as HK does, and that sort of leads into what will now become the current latest, greatest pistol offerings. Okay, and so now we're in basically latest, greatest. This is sort of all the most current, up-to-date stuff. Because I actually think a cool thing about the USP lines is that they kind of leave it the way that it was always intended to be, and they just say, hey, we're gonna evolve those lineups into new pistols. We'll just give you a new pistol, but still let you get the neo vintage thing, which I find to be very cool. So now we're in modern pistol world, where we've got HK45, P30, VP9, and CC9. So where do you want to jump in?
Well, I think we start with the HK45. This pistol arose out of a military requirement, U.S. Military contract for a new joint service pistol, 45 caliber, and they basically took the original USP and just did the same ergonomic changes that we talked about previously with the P2000. So now we've got exchangeable rear grip panels. We've got now a full Picatinny rail. We've got some integrations for slide serrations on the front. Functionally, it's still a USP internally, but now only in 45, as the HK45 designates. And now for accuracy, they all come with the O-ring in the barrel. And these were offered, as you can see here, as a tactical model with the longer threaded barrel, or as a standard model. And they also offer them in compact models with or without the extension threaded barrel.
I wouldn't think the compact model is that enjoyable compared to to me, it feels like a gun that should be a full-size gun.
Well, it's kind of like a USP compact. So
Okay.
if you like the USP compact, you'd like the HK45 compact. Most people find the ergonomics of the grip, which we'll see carry over these other ones, a little more comfortable than it is on the USP. The downside of that, though, is whereas USP 45 has a 12-round magazine, the changes to the grip pattern and the rear grip panel reduces your magazine capacity to 10 rounds. But again, like the USP, available in all of the different variants you want. So if you want it in a specific setup, but you want it a little bit more ergonomic and the ability to mount a light directly to a Picatinny rail, well, an HK45 or an HK45 compact is a great way to go.
Okay, got it.
From there, we see the follow-on evolution of the 9 and 40 series from the P2000 into the P30 series. Again, internally, functionally the same as it was the USP, carries over to the P2000, but now we get the same kind of ergonomic updates. We get the same sights that we had from the HK45. We get the full-length Picatinny rail. We get the slide serrations on the front and rear, and the updated ergonomic grips that now not only have a rear back strap, but also side adjustable grip panels. This really allows you to customize it to any shooter's hand size. And because of an original law enforcement requirement, your magazine capacity jumps up from 13 rounds for the standard mag on a P2000 up to 15. Now, because of the magazine updates, you get 17 rounders on this. And for these models, they offered them in 3 distinct setups. As you see here at the front, this is traditional double action, single action. But now they've moved the decocker from the outside, so it's more low profile, just to the rear.
Hold the back of that rear up, of course.
Yeah, with this button right here.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can run the weapon traditional double action, single action, hammer down, and then once the weapon's cocked, if you decide you don't want to fire anymore, you just press the decocking button, renders the weapon safe again for the next shot. If you also want to run DASA, but you wanted an external safety, or possibly I want to run cocked and locked, then you have the P30S.
I actually did not know about this, because it was actually one of my things it's always bugged me with the P30 is the fact if I want to run DASA as a lefty, I'm like, the decocker is really tough for me to index. That's interesting. I didn't know that existed.
Yep. So an external safety. There is no external decocking function
Sure.
on the lever like there is previously. The decocker's still in the rear, but it allows you to carry it with the safety on, or
And decock it with the safety on.
yep, or you can run it like a 1911. And the model I have, that's how I run it, because it again mirrors. If I'm training 1911s and I put that down and say I want to go back to being an H&K fan again, I can run that the same way.
Well, that's cool. Okay, that's very cool.
And then they carried over, again, a dedicated model as LEM, or their enhanced double action only, where the hammer, strut, and spring are pre-cocked, so you get the same light and trigger pull every single shot.
And you can lighten that up even more.
You can lighten it up. There's a heavyweight, there's a lightweight, there's a medium weight trigger pull, again, to customize it to your specific desires. We see the ability to really suit the needs of the shooter's desires with the P30 series. Like the P30 or like the P2000 that preceded it, they also created a subcompact version of the P30 series, which gives you all the same features we saw in the P2000 SK, but now the full-length Picatinny rail, the cocking serrations on the rear, and the updates to the paddle magazine release and the grip to make it a little more adjustable and ergonomic for shooters. So again, another great deep concealment option for these. I failed to mention this before the P2000, but it carries over with the P30. They share the same magazine body style. So though if you have the flush fit mag, it works the same in the P2000 and as in the P30. But if you wanted to run a spare, you can use that same 17 round mag off of the full size gun. Obviously it'll stick out and extend. And then they've also created newer models that have a grip extension that give you the ability to get a full grip and a larger magazine capacity. So the cross compatibility and obviously the same form and function, you can have a larger P30 series pistol and an SK and get the benefits of the same training.
And this is kind of where you seem to be migrating right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've been running the P30 with that light and double action only for, I don't know, 2+ years. Yeah, 2+ years. It's got all the rounds on it, plus 12,000 easily. I've never had a misfire, never had a malfunction, nothing. It's the gun I carried for 2 years straight. Like, it's that is my jam.
Yeah.
That P30 is. I'm going to complete that family with an SK and an L.
Yeah.
So.
And this is the last of the hammer-fired guns from H&K. So if you are a hammer-fired H&K fan, I would steer you towards the P30, especially if you have the next one in the series as well, because the magazine capability, cross-compatibility from the P30 series carries over to the VP9 series. VP9 series, next up in the line here, this was meant to be a striker-fired, companion to the P30. Basically the same size, dimensionally, uses the same magazines as it, has a similar, grip feel with the side panels and back strap that can be adjustable to the user's need. You've got all the same ambidextrous controls, but now you get it in a striker-fired gun. So slightly lower bore access and very easy to control. If you're looking for a striker-fired pistol, obviously we'd steer you towards the VP9. This was available both with the same kind of paddle mag release you see there, but
And the B model.
as well as the B model. So if you are a button mag release guy coming over from some other gun and you just cannot adapt to a paddle, well, we've got you covered with the B models.
You can adapt, get a paddle.
Yep.
Be a man.
You don't have to, though. If you want the B model, get the B model.
It's fine.
Just like with the P30 SK, H&K offers a VP9 SK in the same dimensions, same functionality, shared, same magazines. So you have that option. You also have a VP9 Tactical option. So if you want to run a threaded barrel option on your VP9, you can order this as well and attach a suppressor directly onto the end of it. Very popular for those guys who want to be James Bond.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, I know, of course.
Don't we all?
Fair point.
Yep. All of the VP9s now come optics ready. So you get the same features in the standard, in your tactical, in your SK variants, with or without the paddle mag release or the push button mag release. But now they come optics ready, so you can direct mount your optic on there. So you've got that capability. We have not seen that crossover yet into the earlier hammer fire designs. So if you're looking for a red dot capable pistol in your collection, you're definitely going to look at the VP9 series. And then most recently, as we've seen here, H&K has updated the VP9 series now with the VP9F and VP9K as the A1s. We have here a VP9K, which in my opinion is the sweet spot in the mix. The VP9F is going to be the same as size dimension as the original VP9, but it's about a ½ inch longer on the slide and barrel. The VP9K gives you the same dimensions of the slide and barrel as the original VP9, but now you have a more compact grip. It's not chopped as much as it is on the SK models. It allows you to have a full grip around the pistol and a 15-round magazine capacity, but dimensionally just seems to fit right, especially for a concealed carry gun for most people. And if you haven't seen the VP9 A1 video that we've done, I highly recommend. The other notable changes is you get some serrations on the paddle mag release. You get the removal of the finger grooves on the front strap. You get some changes with some additional serrations on the slide for gripping, and you also get these really nice index points, reference points on both sides of the slide for your support thumb and your trigger finger when it comes off on the safe position. And of course, they're all optics ready.
Right on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You get a flared magazine well for easier magazine insertion, and they've updated the magazines now where they've got this nice cutout here to allow you to grip the magazine and remove it a little better. So those are your VP9 series. And then, of course, we're going to finish up with the latest and greatest.
Pulled it out from a
where?
garter holster or
Exactly.
something. I don't know what the hell does happen.
Don't you want to know where that came from? The first entry for H&K into the micro compact market with the CC9. This is obviously a slightly smaller pistol than everything else, even the SKs, dimensionally front, back, top, down, but it's also about a third more narrow than what we've seen before. And as we've all agreed in having early access to this pistol, that allows you to carry this much more comfortably long term. You have all the great features that we would expect from H&K's latest designs. Very easy to shoot, very recoil manageable. They did a great job with the recoil spring assembly. You get front and rear cocking serrations. You get recessed, but very easy to manipulate left and right slide lock, slide releases. You get the same kind of safety features that we have in the takedown, which require you to remove the magazine before safe. And now we get a button mag release, but unlike previous designs, it is ambidextrous, meaning it works on both sides. You don't have to switch it from a left-handed shooter to another style. On there, you get an exchangeable back strap on there as well that actually, in the large setting, creates the same distance from front to rear as you do on a full-size VP9. So get your finger placement right where it needs to be, even though this is a very compact gun, and available with 10 or 12 round magazine capacity and a great set of high visibility tritium front sight in the front, blacked out rear, and comes optics ready. You can see I've got a Mepper light mounted here on my personal CC9. So if you need something that's even more compact than the SK series, you now have an option from H&K. I think the current line of our most recent products from H&K really shows that the company is dedicated to making sure that you have a wide amount of options, and I think more options is more better.
As they say.
It really allows you to figure out exactly what you want, maybe for specific mission sets, maybe for home defense versus carry, maybe seasonally. I know that this has definitely become my summer carry gun, and I've enjoyed wearing it in these warmer months, but there's also, when the cooler months come out, I know that I'm going to be moving to the VP9K, and if I come out and see you out in Utah, you might see me with an HK USP 45. So having those kind of options, I think, is a great advantage. The downside is, well, if you're assembling your H&K collection, it means there's a lot of H&Ks
A lot of
you
money
gotta
to
buy.
be spent. Yeah, a lot of money to be spent.
Rough. Okay, with that said, we're gonna move on to the lightning round.
I'm just waiting for what you're going to drop
No,
on me
it's
next.
actually very simple. You're going to
Okay.
pick guns for. Okay, everyone, welcome to the lightning round. James is
I'm expecting something like the Bojangles challenge. you did
No,
last time,
I actually wish I did. I don't have anything.
You'd only do
notable.
that to you once, and then we can't do that again.
So what I'm going to do, I've got 3 different people. I'm just going to basically read you, hey, here's who this person is, and you're going to help pick. This is the HK pistol I think they should get. Okay, first we're going to start with Sebastian. Okay, adorable. And a dog's name. Sebastian is a casual gun owner. He likes to go to the range a few times a year, right? He's not particularly likely to invest a lot of money into training, doesn't do a great job of maintaining his gear, but he's looking for that one pistol that can do a little bit of everything. So Sebastian, is really looking for the jack of all trades.
Yep. Is he going to carry this also?
It's a jack of all trades. It's kind of got to be able to do it all.
Just making sure?
Yeah.
He might not. I would say if he's looking for a striker-fired gun, the VP9. If he's looking for a hammer-fired gun, the P30. Those two are a great currently available entry-level one that you'd be able to find at any gun store.
Yep.
He's not going to have to hunt a lot. He's not going to have to go on Gun Broker and search. Those are no-brainer options that could run the full gamut of a home defense gun, a carry gun, a competition, a training gun. I think you'd be good suited, and they're well priced.
I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree with that. Okay, next they get a little bit more fun now. So Barry, okay, Barry owns.
You say this like I know Barry.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Barry.
You know Barry. Come on, we all know a Barry. I don't know a Barry,
I
but
don't know
maybe
a
you
Barry.
guys do. Barry owns a VP9. He started with the jack of all trades, right? So Barry owns a VP9. It's his first and only pistol, but he's enjoyed it, so he's intrigued to go a little bit further down the HK rabbit hole. He's certainly not a collector seeking rarity, but he's looking for that next step in his HK pistol journey.
Yeah, I think if he likes the striker-fired gun, likes the VP9, then going into one of the other VP9 models, say the new K or the SK, as maybe a dedicated carry gun, whereas the VP9 maybe stays on the bedside table, maybe becomes a training weapon, that's a good option. If he wants to get into a hammer-fired option, but he loves the fact that, hey, I don't want to go out and buy a whole new set of magazines.
P30?
The P30 series uses the same magazine as that.
That's a good answer.
But if he wants to get into, okay, maybe I want to dabble into something else that's different in the collection, but I don't have a big budget, then I would probably push him to the USP series.
That's what I'm saying.
And say, let me see how good this thing is. And again, as we mentioned, the beauty of the USP series is the modularity of it, where he could immediately go, well, I got it, and I got the DASA one because that's what the store had, but I'm just not loving that trigger. Great, convert it to LEM, and you'll be surprised at how close to a striker-fired performance and feel that is.
100%. Yeah, I agree. USP. I think Barry USP. He's a USP man. I think he can be if he really wants to step up his man game, become a USP man.
Tell him to give me a call.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Enzo. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Enzo. So we're not sure.
So he's coming over from Beretta, apparently.
That, or he could be Italian-American. We don't really know, but we know his name's Enzo. But Enzo likes to flex on people. Makes sense. His name's fucking Enzo, you know? So he's probably never going to shoot this gun, but when people come over to his house, he wants to impress his guests with his fine things. So in essence, Enzo is looking for the HK barbecue gun, if you will.
Well, I think you directed yourself right to the P7 series with that. It's a massive flex, whether you're pulling it out of the gun safe and wiping it off with a microfiber towel to take your Instagram photo for the day, or you're a guy like me who goes to the range and likes to just put everybody in their place.
Yeah.
You can't.
Wow.
You can't go wrong with a P7 series pistol, and there's a lot of different examples that he has to
nickel
choose
finish
from.
for
The
him,
nickel
though,
finish, I think, would stand out. So a KC date code, P7M8, P7M10, P7M13 would do that job.
Yeah, boy, that's pretty spectacular.
So you gave the serial code for that?
It's the only year they did nickel finish in those models.
But of course it is.
Yeah, gangster. And then final scenario. Who's more likely to go to hell, me or Chris?
Oh, well, we covered this last year, and not surprisingly, it hasn't changed in the year since we were last in here. And probably it's just more reaffirmed than it was there.
He hasn't blinked in like 3 minutes, so.
Yeah.
I don't need to blink.
He doesn't have eyelids. So, yeah. It's definitely, yeah.
I take back every nice thing I've ever said about you.
You're
Not my dad. You are not my dad anymore.
Hey, I'm trying to be honest. Your fans deserve it.
Oh, like that helped anything. I'm just trying to be honest. You're more likely to go.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, bud.
It's been a thrilling
call
edition.
him like I see him.
Still call him like I see.
It's the thrilling, yeah. This is an abusive relationship at this point. Guys, it's been a thrilling edition of the show. I have a feeling many of you are getting those credit cards warmed up at this point. Spend responsibly. Don't go into debt, but also make more money to get more HK pistols.
But also, you can't take it with you, so swipe that card, man.
Yeah. That looks like
Not
the voice
good
of
advice.
responsibility.
Not good advice.
That's the voice of responsibility. Look at that man. He has zero responsibility.
Not going to hell, so you can trust me.
Oh, whatever. We'll see you guys next week.